Let's now talk about what is happening in Pakistan. The death toll in Pakistan has now risen to 10 after a pro-Iran protest at a U.S. consulate. Reports indicate a rescue service said that the deaths happened after hundreds of pro-Iranian protesters tried to storm the consulate in Karachi. A spokesperson for the Edhi Foundation Rescue Service claimed that they have moved at least 8 dead bodies to Karachi's civil hospitals, while 20 others were injured in the consulate incident. He added that most had bullet wounds. Videos on social media showed people climbing over the main gate and gaining access to the driveway of the consular building. The American flag could be seen flying over the compound. Police fired tear gas at the protesters who dispersed. Thousands of people also took to the streets in Lahore and in northern Skadu, with a demonstration expected in the afternoon near the diplomatic enclave housing the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad. The U.S. has responded to the development, saying it is monitoring reports of ongoing demonstrations at the U.S. consulates general in Karachi and Lahore, as well as calls for additional demonstrations at the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad and Consulate General in Peshawar. The U.S. Embassy has advised U.S. citizens in Pakistan to monitor local news and observe good personal security practices, including being aware of their surroundings, avoiding large crowds, and ensuring their stepped registration is up to date. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif had earlier said that Islamabad stands in full solidarity with Saudi Arabia and other Gulf nations following the US-Israel attacks on Iran and the subsequent regional escalation. While Sharif condemned Israel for targeting Iran, he did not mention the US. One Pakistani person has died in Abu Dhabi after Iran targeted a US base there. Well, joining us live from Berlin is Mr. James Jackson. He's a journalist and also political analyst. Mr. Jackson, good to see you and thank you very much for your time. What really was the objective of the United States and Israel to strike Iran? First, it was about uranium and nuclear talk, and then regime change, which is highly unlikely now that Khamenei will be replaced. Was that objective really achieved or far from it?
I think we need to treat claims by the US and Israel that they were feeling truly threatened by the Iranian nuclear program with a lot of skepticism, because you remember, of course, there was the 11-day war last year where the nuclear facilities were bombed, and actually the Omani foreign minister has come out and said that there were shortly before a deal which would have prevented all forms of nuclear stockpiling. So that means it would have been, almost impossible for the Iranians to actually produce weapons, nuclear weapons. And remember, in the West, we've been hearing that the Iranian regime is 20 years, shortly before having a bomb for about 20 years. It's clear that their nuclear capabilities were not as good. And Donald Trump was, of course, the one who walked away from the Iranian nuclear deal that would have prevented them from having a bomb or even the capabilities to build one in exchange for sanctions, reduced sanctions. So I think it's quite clear here that on the one hand, the goal is regime change and the goal is also distraction. So, both Trump and Netanyahu have their own domestic problems, especially Trump at the moment, the Epstein files. And Trump has come out and attacked Iran. The question is, were they using these negotiations as a way to keep the Iranians at the table while they were preparing for this strike, to gather intelligence, to successfully kill Khamenei, as has happened, in the same way that they did before the 11-day war when they successfully targeted the nuclear scientists?
A lot of questions really indeed do persist. But protests of anger have now started across the region. We are also seeing the wrath at which Iran is attacking Gulf states. Has the balance shifted or changed in West Asia? And is that going to stay like that for a while?
Well, we've seen anger, but we have also seen support, it has to be said. There are many millions of Iranians worldwide who are supporting the death of this brutal dictator who was a strategic genius in some ways in how he allowed the Iranian regime to stay afloat despite regional isolation, economic sanctions, and so on, recently killing thousands and thousands of protesters. Who wanted a more liberal society. But of course, the regime does have its supporters as well. And with Khamenei dead, it's unclear what regional security will look like. Iran's swift attacks on the Gulf states shows that they are unafraid of escalating, but it doesn't appear that they have the capability to do very much damage.
All right, Mr. James Jackson, it's good to see you. We'll have to end this discussion there. Thank you for talking to us today.
Thanks for having me.